It's March 2020, and in South Africa, our world is going to change. As I read this book on martial arts, it reminds me of Mike Tyson's phrase, "Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face." And boy, are we about to be punched in the face. The coronavirus epidemic is real. There are two strategies that all countries are adopting around it. The one is the sharp curve, and the one is the flattened curve. South Africa, through our president's announcement last Sunday, is adopting the flattened curve. It's guided by the capability and capacity of our health services to help cope and alleviate the pain that is due to come as a result of the virus. Understanding it is important because for us as business owners, it's critical that we devise a battle plan to survive, possibly thrive, and prevent the dive that Corona offers us. As in all crises, in fact, as in life, it all begins with you. We're going to talk through how you need to get your head right around this issue, and through that, how you can get your business right through the process of the Corona economy. I'm Pavlo Phitidis. I live and die for SMEs. I live and die for business. Good businesses build good society. The one big issue that we are going to face is the impact on business, and through that, the impact translating into society. As business owners, we must not panic. As business owners, we need to take a lead, we need to take charge. In beginning with you, there are a couple of things. Two very clever fellows, Kubler and Ross, a number of years ago, looked at how we as a species behave around shocks and big events. They say we go through a process where at first we experience great shock. After that, we deny that it's real. How could it be? Certainly not. It won't affect me. We then move down a frustrating curve towards depression. After depression, we get sick and tired of being depressed, and we act. And in those small actions, we find through experimentation a path that can work. Once we have found the path that can work, we double down on it. And that's how we have behaved for millennia, ever since we as a species emerged. You will go through it, I'm going through it, everyone will go through it. The trick, however, is how do we move through that Kubler-Ross cycle of emotional distress into positive action? I have a few ideas. The best thing to do is to only work with what you have 100% control over. Honestly, thinking about what's happening with Corona in Timbuktu, thinking about what it means, why it exists, why it's here, who visited it upon us, why it happens, is completely futile and irrelevant. Action has got to be the key. If that is the case, then let's work with truths, for there will be a lot of fake media and fake ideas out there. And when you lull into depression, you look to blame as opposed to empower yourself through action. First truth, absolute truth, you are born. I promise you are born. Sadly, second truth, you will one day die. Hopefully not from Corona, but it's going to happen to us all. Third truth, you can never change another person. Think about it. You can try and influence people, but they themselves need to change themselves. Fourth truth, we've always lived in a world of enormous uncertainty. It seems as if it's more uncertain now than ever before, simply because we have access to more and more information. But it's always been uncertain. Fifth truth, Carl Gustav Jung, a well-versed, smart, deeply thoughtful psychologist, turned around and quoted the phrase, "The is sacred." What he meant by that is what is. Not it could be this, ought to be that, should be this, but if it weren't, but if it were, the is sacred. So you need to ground truth through action. It brings me to the sixth, absolute truth. The only thing you have 100% control over is your attitude. And your attitude leads to your behavior. And your behavior gives you the result of your thing. It could be your relationship with people. It could be in family. It could be your relationship in traffic. It's especially true and how your business presents itself to you. If you're unhappy with the result of what you see in front of you, the way to change that is to first change your attitude, because your attitude leads to the behavior that then builds out the reality of your existence and life. The attitude around coronavirus is what we're going to talk about through a battle plan made up of 5 stages that you can deploy to hopefully sustain and even perhaps thrive in this environment. You know, the starting point is to remember why you do what you do. And reading about ships, reading about boats, well, building a business is very similar to the way that you sail a ship. I'll tell you how. A ship starts at a port and sails to a destination. So it sets its course in order to reach that destination. The next thing is that a ship has got a crew, and everyone in the crew knows exactly what to do, when to do, and how to do it. Third, because you're sailing from one place to another, you need to have resources. You need to understand how much food, fuel, and water you need to get there. The next thing is that in a ship, you either are in the engine room, which is typically below decks, and that keeps the propeller running, or you sit up on the bridge. And on the bridge, you decide the direction of the ship. On the bridge, if you have built your ship right, you have all sorts of instrumentation that tells you what lies ahead, the storms, the waves, the tsunamis that might appear. In many ways, for all of us now in running our businesses, those of us up on the bridge, in facing that ocean, can see what's coming, and it's not looking pretty. So we need to decide, are we going to stay on the bridge, or are we going to move back down into the engine room? And I think with what we're facing ahead, it's going to be a combination of both. Lead by staying on the bridge, setting your sights on a destination to get to the other side of the corona economy. But get back down into the engine room, because in the engine room, your team and your crew are going to need you. The final thing, what is that destination? And that destination, in my view, should always be an asset of value. That is a business that is well positioned in a competitive economy. It's a business that is built through systems. It's a business that's got a good crew on board. And it's a business that of a day, one day, could be sold. It is your destination. What's going to change now with the corona economy is what path are we going to take in order to sail there? With the storm that lies ahead, do we go through it, do we go around it, or do we wait for it to pass? 3 strategies for every business. So we're going to talk about a corona business battle plan, but there is a preceding thing that needs to be said. There are 3 types of businesses that are going to find themselves, or rather, let's put it this way, there'll be 3 strategies for 3 different scenarios. There's the good, the bad, the ugly. The ugly, I'm really concerned about. Those are businesses whose survival is going to be perhaps unlikely. The bad, businesses that will survive if you make the right moves, if you do the right things, and if you do them on time. And then the good, obviously, are going to be businesses that truly benefit from the environment. In every instance, there will be a benefit to businesses, whether it be a war, whether it be a virus. Bad news is good news for some, and bad news is really bad news for others. But each of them do have a strategy. What I'm going to share with you is an overall plan. And you need to decide which of these elements, these 5 elements, fit within your business. The overall actions should be the same, whether you're in the good, bad, or ugly bucket. The first one I want to talk about is going to be the final objective. The objective, to be the last man standing. If that's a strategy, the first thing we have to get right is you need to get your money in. In getting your money in, you need to reduce the money out. I know it's hard because of what we have been through in South Africa. Through Eskom, through mismanagement of the economy generally, a lot of us in our businesses have got very thin reserves. But we need to try and keep whatever money it is that we have to sustain the unforeseen consequences of the virus that lie ahead. And incidentally, Nobody knows what that looks like. Their scenarios, their plans, their pictures. But plan for the worst, because if it doesn't turn out to be the case, you will emerge with a stronger business. Get money in, reduce money out. Optimize your business. We're all going to have time to do that. Capacitate your crew. And then, and yes, I mean it, innovate. Find a new way of doing things. It might be a new business model. It might be new clients. So let's go through them. In getting your money in, there are a couple of ways to do that. The first thing is to sell. There's an opportunity for you to reach out to your clients, depending on what your supply chain of products and services looks like, and offer clients long-term deals. In many instances, until the engine of the industrial economy picks up again, which is China and Germany, you might not be able to get stock in if you are selling products. In those instances, get onto the phone, speak to your clients, and say you had best buy 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, because of the uncertainty of supply. Having said that, just this morning today, it was announced that China contagion seems to be under control. It means that China will go back to its factories, and it means that the factories will kickstart again. However, it's going to take at least a good 3, maybe 2 months for stock to start arriving. If you're in a business that can sustain over a tough period, then don't sell all your stock up front. Rather put forward options to your clients to take stock over a period of time. That way, you will get your income on a month-to-month basis to help sustain the business. If you're in the services industry, it's particularly difficult. Selling in the services industry at the moment is rough. It depends what the service is, but you will have to reshape it. And my heart really goes out to people in the events industry. That industry in particular, given all the quarantining and social distancing that's been implied and put forward by government, means that events are highly unlikely to take place. My heart goes out to you, but innovate around it. For example, test webinars. Test what your assets are. In the eventing industry, which is one of the worst hit, you have assets beyond just the next event. You have got relationships with clients. You have got databases. You have got insight into the problems that events have been solving for businesses for some time. Collaborate with potential partners. They might be tech partners, and see if you can deliver some sort of eventing strategy by way of webinars or other such means. Carrying on with how you get money in, you need to look at your main suppliers. And this is an opportunity to speak to your landlords. You know, in 2008, a man by the name of Manny Simkowitz, a big property owner in the retail space of Los Angeles, wrote a letter to all his tenants without their request and without any engagement. He immediately said to them, I'm reducing your rates by between 10 and 15%, depending on the size of the retailer. This will take place as of the 1st of January 2009, all the way through 2009 and 2010, when the American economy literally was shredded as a result of the credit crunch. His retail stores were all tenanted. Reach out to your landlords. I can assure you they cannot afford to have empty spaces, whether it be factories, offices, warehouses, or retail stores. Perhaps put an idea to them on how rents could be reduced for a period of, let's say, 6 months, with the view that you would sign for an extra 6 months at the end of your lease. That way, everyone wins and everyone gains, because sustainability's got to be the key. Another way to get money in is to become very inventive. Depending on what business you're in, find collaborating partners. I can assure you right now, everyone's ear is open to where an opportunity may lie. For the first time, you will reach people. For the first time, people in a crisis listen with a different ear and with the view to do things differently. I'll give you a crazy example. We work with a really good kitchen outfitting business at Auric. We also work with a really good landscaping business at Auric. How would they work together? Well, perhaps they could come together and go into A-income households with a proposition that says the coronavirus requires you to be isolated or, through social distancing, to remain at home. In that environment, let us build out an outdoor kitchen for you and create an environment where you can entertain yourself and your family and you can relax during a time of stress. At the end of the corona economy, what you're left with is an improved value in your asset, your home per se. Through that, you're combining databases, you're combining marketing efforts, and you're creating business where perhaps there might not have been business before. You need to get inventive. Every single business has an asset stack. Every single business can reach left and right out of the box to find partners to work with. Right, let's talk about reducing money out. Well, reducing money out, sadly, you need to have very, very tight conversations with your staff. I think it's unlikely that a lot of businesses will be able to sustain a full 5-day week in this environment. What people need and what people want is job security. If it means reducing the number of hours of work, if it means that you might have to work for only 3 days instead of 5, it's something you need to consider. At the same time, within that environment, capacitate your staff for those types of businesses that allow for it to work from home in the 2 off days or for 1 of the 3 days that you might be working in the week. I can assure you, I think you will be well received by most of your staff. They are equally concerned about the survival of your business as they are about the coronavirus and the impact it's having on you as the primary risk taker in your business. As I mentioned earlier, another way to get money in would be to do some interesting deals. So for example, if you really are up against the wall, a strategy you could follow is take the big assets you have, sell them out and lease them back. There will be businesses doing that, and there already are finance houses offering that. It gives you an upfront cash bullet payment, although it takes it off your balance sheet, but it gives you enough money to survive. If that's the strategy you need to follow, follow it. Because on the other side, you will eventually, as the last man standing, benefit from being alive, and through that, remain continuing, growing, working. When you get those revenues in, acquire the assets back. Do the deal that way. There are lots of strategies to keep your money in. You need to keep it in wherever possible. The third strategy was optimize the engines. Remember, get money in, keep money in, optimize the engines. What does that mean? So the engines of the business are all the functions that you perform every day. You market to reach your audiences. The purpose behind that is to get leads into the business, to send a message to potential customers and clients and get them excited about your business. Third, you sell. It's about converting the leads. Next, you operate. It's about fulfilling the promises that you've made. Then you have people. And finally, you have money. All are engines in their own rights. And what I mean by engines, they're all business systems. Let's just pause for a minute. A business system is a set of activities in a sequence that can be measured and taught. It is a really good time to actually reflect back into the business and see how all your systems are working. In your business, does marketing work effectively? Could it be improved? Could the selling process be improved? When you fulfill your promises to your customers and clients, could operations be improved? It is a really good time to zone in on that, because what you will find is that as business slows, for so long as you can sustain your current business and your staff in that business, they will have the insights in order to improve the efficiency of your entire operation. The purpose behind this is to bring down some of your operating costs through inefficiencies. The other purpose behind it is to really get to the other side of the corona economy with a super strong, solid platform to your business. It's a good time to spend time doing that, because bear this in mind. Until this crisis happened, you were run off your feet, weren't you? You never had time to do this. And whenever you set time aside to look and seeing how you can improve the operations of your business, you were overwhelmed by the activity of that day. Take advantage of the time. Invest it. Don't waste it. The next strategy, your team, your crew, your people. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's a wonderful African proverb. Right now, your team is going to be more receptive to doing things differently than ever before. Right now, everybody in business is geared for change. Very often, when I speak to business owners, they constantly bemoan the fact that getting things done through change and through change in people and through change in habits is almost impossible. Right now, I believe everybody is locked and loaded, expecting change and willing to adapt to it, because necessity is enormously powerful. Work with your team to understand in sales how you can build databases for the future. So for example, if your current clients are not working well with you, get your sales team orientated around building a database of potential future clients. Get your sales team focused on who of your competitors is out of stock or has no ability to provide service, and see who their customers are. It sounds harsh, it sounds tough. It is a land of survival at the moment. And in that, if your team is ripe and ready and able to do things differently, get them focused, if they're not selling in the corona economy, to prepare to sell post the corona economy. In operations, that's where the inefficiencies lie. In fact, one of the most difficult things to get right in a business is to get all the gears to work smoothly together that turn the propeller. Very often when you market, how well does it translate into sales? Once you've sold, how well does it translate into delivery and installation and servicing of that client and customer? For most of us, it's where the biggest challenges lie. Look at your operational processes, map them out. In mapping them out, you'll see areas of opportunity and efficiency. And through that, start looking at technologies that might be able to digitize and automate certain processes. Remember, we are doing this to bring down operating costs, but we're also doing it because we're going to be building a business for tomorrow, post the corona economy. If you get this right over the next 3 to 6 months, it's called scaling the underlying platform of your business, and it puts you in a position where you'll be able to go to market far faster and far more efficiently, earning far more profitability in the new business model post the corona economy than the one you currently have. The fifth strategy, time. And I talk about it a lot. It's the most precious commodity we have, and you will find time. Once you have gotten most of these elements right in your business, working within the context of this economy that we're now going to be facing and living in, what do you do with your time? Do not sit back and get depressed. Do not sit back and feel sorry for yourself. Invest it smartly, invest it wisely. Think about new business models that you can deploy. Think about new markets you can enter into. Think about new relationships that you can source, collaborate with, and find either new products or new markets. I've said it before earlier. It is such a good time to reach out to fellow business owners and see what together you can do to lift the opportunity both now and for what we're about to go through, but most importantly, post the corona economy, how you can work together. The strategies that I've spoken about are very generalized. They will change for specific circumstances, industries, and sectors. They will change depending on the size of your business, and they will change substantively depending on the attitude you hold towards what you plan to do and how you will approach the next 3 to 6 months. Truth is only found in action. Do not sit and dabble with theories. Try something, see what works, see what doesn't, and do more of what works. Through that, you will find your path. Trust me, it's worked every time. So it's not easy. It's not easy because we're caught between a rock and a hard place in many ways. As business owners, the strategy is about surviving, if not thriving. It is about being one of the last men standing. A lot of your competitors are going to take pain, and perhaps a lot of them are going to fade away. They won't survive this corona economy. And yet, to the extent that people do close businesses, we all lose. It is enormously frustrating. I'm claiming that you must focus on one thing only, and that's building your business, surviving your business, and being the last man standing. And yet I'm asking, don't be an arse about it. And what I mean by that is it's not personal what has happened to anybody in the corona economy. Going back to the analogy of sailing, we're all in our own boats, but we're all on the same sea. And the way that we think as captains of our ships, of our boats, of our vessels, is going to be what determines whether we get to the destination or not. But in that process, let's have deep empathy for everyone in South Africa. We do not have the same circumstances, and we do not come from the same backgrounds. The country is going to take enormous pain. And I have to say it. Please, don't stockpile toilet paper. It's ridiculous. When you do, you prevent others from getting access. Demonstrating that kind of empathy is one of the biggest opportunities that any business owner can face. For the way that you behave in the time of crisis is what will allow your brand to flourish or die post the crisis. We have seen very often when people have capitalized unfairly or dramatically through a crisis and been boastful and aggressive about it, they've burnt post the crisis. Think about it. It's not personal. We are all in it together. And I know it's tough. But you know, I tell you where I draw a lot of my fortitude from. He said it, didn't he? He said, it always seems impossible until it's done. We will all emerge stronger from this environment. To that extent, I'm going to be offering access to webinars twice a week for very specific businesses or queries or engagements. I've no doubt that there are business owners out there in specific sectors and industries who are facing terrible, terrible choices. Please reach out to me and let me know what those choices are. Having an alternative perspective eases the journey because there is no reason for anybody to be alone. Through the webinar series that I will be running every second day, there's an opportunity for all of us collectively to put our ideas forward and provide relief for each other, to each other, and especially of those who are in greater need. As I said earlier, there will be businesses in the good, bad, and ugly bracket. It's the ugly ones that I'm most worried about. The bad ones, be calm. The good ones, thrive, absolutely thrive. But do so with empathy for all the others. I'm Pavlo Phitidis. Thank you for watching this.